Hello and welcome to Supporters Club Live, a fantastic exclusive show for you, our phenomenal supporters clubs, wherever you are. Today's show is a very special one because it's focused on the phenomenal attributes of the Chelsea Academy. And who better to talk about that than the man at the top of the tree, Mr. Neil Bath. We're going to come to Neil in a moment, and then shortly we'll be joined by Academy product Andreas Christensen, of course, has been flourishing of late in the first team setup. But this, as ever, is all about you, our network of incredible supporters groups. We want to know where you are, where you've tuned in from, and any questions you might have for any of us here this afternoon. So please interact via the comment section on this stream. But let's get to our first guest, shall we, without any further ado. A man who's been involved with Chelsea Football Club for over 25 years now, the one and only Mr. Neil Bath. Neil, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. How are you, and how's life at Cobham in these strange times?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for having me on, and hi to all the supporters that are on today. It's a bit like everyone. We're trying to strike the balance of personal support to family and friends, and also carrying out the kind of professional responsibilities at the club. But everybody's very understanding. From a personal point of view, I'm nipping down and seeing my dad, who still lives in the same estate. We were brought up in Battersea many years ago, and dropping off the food run. And then back at the club, we've got the challenge at the academy of half the programme is in working to stay at home programmes, and that's the younger ages. And at 16 up, we've got the players in every day. And so we kind of got like a split programme. So it's a bit of a challenge, but, certainly no complaints.
Absolutely. And you alluded to it there. I mean, things evolve, don't they? Day in, day out, year on year. What do you think is the secret of the success, if you can put your finger on it? Why has this academy been so successful of late?
I think, Lee, when we restructured the academy a few years ago, it was really important to try and get the right culture, the right set of values, the right standards. You couldn't sort of say it's one particular thing, but what I was really keen to do was get the environment right. And then once you've got those kind of cultures and values in place, what's then important is you get the right people. And it's the right people and the right players. And what I mean by people are good staff, good recruitment people, good coaching staff. And I remember when we restructured, some of the people and staff that we brought in. Brendan Rodgers was our first youth team coach. Jim Fraser in recruitment, who's still with us now, has done an incredible job in so many of the players and bring them into the club. And then I'll use someone like Joe Edwards and the coaching team, just to name sort of Joe and Jim, who have gone all the way with us. Having those real strong people, identifying the right players, but then putting in place the right program, the right coaching program. So that's where we started. Put in place good, solid values, but then get in place good people to run a high quality coaching program.
I think it's a really interesting point there, because you touched on it. It's not just about the players, is it? It's about developing people, developing the coaches that you have behind the scenes there.
It is. And over the years, we've never had a program where we're saying this is the way to do it. As we know, we've had many coaches. I said, when you said earlier, over 25 years, my first coach when I was part-time coaching was Glenn Hoddle. And I can still take lots away from Glenn from many years ago to taking away, little bits and pieces from all the coaches we've had, as well as good academy staff that we've had. And over that time, we've built our own program. But then, Lee, you need to have good people to deliver it. So the development of coaches is key.
I think it is key, and this is sort of an ethos that comes right from the very top of the club. Tell us about the involvement of Roman Abramovich when he bought the club back in 2003, and just how focused he was on the project within the academy.
For sure. I mean, I recall Lee going to Youth Cup final games and Roman sitting right next to me. And honestly, he would be twitching at the excitement of us, playing well in a Youth Cup final. Honestly, it means a lot to him. And I've witnessed that. For him to see now, the young players coming through, he'd be really happy with that. And I have to say, the board of directors, I guess ultimately reporting to Roman, have been incredibly supportive of the programme for many years now. It just so happens that after so many years, in recent years, we've had those players to start coming through. They've had to be good players. And I give credit, obviously, more recently to Frank Lampard, who gave them that opportunity. But having met Thomas the other day, who's a previous academy coach, he's really keen to push young players. So it would seem we're in a really good place at the moment. and with always the full support of our owner.
Fantastic stuff. Let's talk about your development then, because you touched on it there. Over 25 years at the club. Take us back to when you first started then as a part-time coach, and how you've evolved in that time.
Oh, wow. Well, I actually came, I had spent a number of years working at Brentford Football Club as a part-time coach before joining Chelsea. But my background was in leisure management, and I ran a number of sports centres. And I was involved in developing sports other than just football, to be honest. But my passion was football. And before joining Chelsea, I actually spent 6 months travelling, mainly in Australia, looking at the Institute of Sport, and because they were winning lots of gold medals. And I was really interested how we could take programmes from outside of football and within football, and then bring that into the club when I eventually became academy manager. So I've always had a real thirst for looking outside, looking at other coaches, looking at other sports. But then when we bring that into our academy, going back to the coaches, having coaches that have got an open mind to develop and grow. I remember Joe Edwards, who had a kind of a year where he was under 18 coach to under 23s, where he went and worked in the loans department. And he went out to watch all of our loan players, but he was also keeping an eye on how they work, as well as working for England, as well as visiting the States and looking at how those coaches developed in different sports. So I guess the journey has been like that all the way, looking to evolve, never standing still, and always having that passion and desire to see our youngsters, ultimately out at Stamford Bridge.
An incredible journey, isn't it? This is a difficult one because there's been so much success, especially over the last 10 years or so. Do you have a favourite moment? Are you able to pinpoint a moment that really stands out for you?
Oh, wow, you put me on the spot a bit there. Probably one of the moments, I have to say, would be the first time we won the Youth Cup, because we hadn't won it for so long. And I remember when I got the job, Peter Kenyon and Jose Mourinho interviewed me back in the day. I remember Peter Kenyon saying, "Oh, Neil, the academy won't really be on the map until you win the Youth Cup, and you probably need to win the Youth Cup every 3 years." I remember winning it 5 years on the trot and seeing Pete and said, "Pete, we're going in a good place. I think we're on the map." So winning it that first time, and also with Dermot Drumley as the coach, who sadly passed away since, that will always be quite a special moment. But then there are moments, even more recently, when Mason Mount comes on and scores a goal against Leicester, and many other occasions. The players are away to Wolves. I'm now thinking the games back. They're all really special moments. UEFA Youth League results, when we're winning those, and it's that balance of, it's nice to win the trophies, but really when they go out and play for the first team, there's a real buzz about you, for sure. So hard to pin one, really.
You're writing these segues for me. You're a pro, Neil, because I was going to ask what it means to you to see these players develop and flourish, as you rightly said there in the first team. You've spoken about Mason, we see Tammy, Fakayo is obviously now at Milan, and so many others that have come through to the fore.
Yes, Lee, it is. And you do get that buzz, but I have to say, I still follow like every player we released. I'll look out on Super Saturday, or I'll be at a loan game and I'll be looking at the papers on Sunday mornings or online now, and just following all the players through the system. And I have to say, staff, you do get a buzz when you see our staff progressing. So for sure, it's, I'm very privileged to be in the role I'm in, and to see so many successes of players playing in our first team is wonderful. But then if they don't make it, playing elsewhere is great. And even, several that may have struggled to move on in their career, we still stay in contact with Emily, and we'll help them off the pitch to deliver, whether that's further education or perhaps helping them with references. And we have so many guys that are at the club that are ex-players, Ed Brands and James Simmons and Andy Ross. And we try and get that balance of ex-graduates, but a lot of ex-players that you'd know about, from Eddie Newtons to Jodie's to Maisie now and so on. And we have a number of past players that supporters will probably remember academy names. Tom Tywoo is scouting for us. Harry Worley is scouting for us. So there's a number of guys that are still there. It's important that, it's great to celebrate success around the first team, but we also do look out for previous and past players as well.
Great stuff. We're going to bring in one of those success stories in a moment. Andreas Christensen is waiting in the wings. Before we do, we're going to ask a couple of fan questions. As you can imagine, Neil, lots coming in. Jay Adams from the Oxford Official Supporters Club asks, which Chelsea youngster caught your eye from the first day you saw them? And who was the ultimate standout youngster? Ooh, no pressure.
Yeah, that's going to get me into trouble. You know what? Catching your eye. I'm not shirking around this. Catching your eye. Players at a young age, at 8, 9, 10, catch your eye for all different reasons. You can imagine someone like Fikayo's pace. To more his pace, you go, wow, who's that player? And he's so fast, he catches your eye. Mason's technical ability, vision, awareness, even though a smaller lad who developed a bit later physically, he caught your eye because he was a natural player, really good talent. I remember Ruben, for sure, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Reece James, and I'll now apologise to any I've left out. But there's just a few to mention that in early ages for sure caught your eye.
It's really interesting. And I was always amazed when I spoke to Mason Mount for the first time, and he said, I've been here since I was 6. It always amazes me that you can spot something in players at such a young age. Incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And it is incredible to think Mason, who would have been a smaller one, you know, but he caught your eye because he could play. And he did catch your eye like he does now. When he gets on the half turn between the lines and changes pace, you could see that as a 7-year-old, those little attributes. And it's similar with other players are not with us now, the likes of Jeremy Boga, who's playing elsewhere, or Dominic Solanke, who's playing elsewhere. They do catch your eye in such a young age. It's interesting.
Fantastic stuff. Question from Jimmy Dinsmore from the Newry and District Supporters Club. He says, do all potential entrants to the academy come from the London southeast area, or do Chelsea have any youth scouts in Ireland?
We do have youth scouts in Ireland. Billy Barr, we have Billy Barr in the north, been with us about 10 years, Billy. And we've got Gerard Dempsey in Dublin. So we do have two guys with a small team round them in Ireland. Billy Barr would have brought in Sam McClellan from Coleraine. So yes, we do have guys in Ireland. The majority are based in the southeast because that's what the rules are. Between certain ages, you can only sign players within a travel distance from the training ground. So you can imagine at the ages of under 16, most of the scouting goes on local. But we'll be coming on to Andreas, I'm sure, what our kind of strategy is. You want to get the best players. All the names I just named are predominantly from the southeast. But when they get to the age of 16, you want to top that up with some of the best players in Europe. And some of the best players in Europe, the likes of Andreas that are coming on, or Nathan Aki, that's about looking at the programme to ensure we have best for best. And the likes of Andreas certainly fitted into that model, just to give you a bit of background to the scouting.
Really interesting stuff. Neil, you know me, I could talk to you for hours about football. It's fascinating. We are going to bring Andreas on in a second. But for now, Neil, thank you so much indeed for your time. It's been a real pleasure. Stay safe, stay well, and good luck for the future. As we alluded to, there's so much success at the academy in recent years. Let's have a quick look back at some of the highlights, including some of those phenomenal Youth Cup victories.
As well, the beautiful header at the end of it wraps it up. There's Ike Ogbo to smash Chelsea into the lead. Towards Gurney, Axel over and in. Ogbo, oh what a goal! 4 cup wins in a row.
And here is the man himself, Mr. Andreas Christensen. Lovely to see you. It's apropos that you've got a Champions League background, because I wanted to ask about a special performance midweek, because it wasn't a bad one, was it, against Atletico? You must have been delighted with it.
No, yeah, it was a good result anyway. I still think we can, do better, but I think just first leg was most important thing was the result, and that was luckily a good one.
It certainly was. How are you enjoying your football at the moment? Because you seem to have slotted back into that middle of the back three seamlessly.
It is still hard because it's been a while since I've had games on the run, and yeah, still getting into it. Still don't think I'm where I have been, but it's definitely coming, and yeah, it's like every game is more and more comfortable, and yeah, just at the moment just enjoying it really.
Good to hear as well. Yeah, it's an interesting point. That how long does it take to get that match sharpness back? Because, like you said, playing sort of games, game after game after game, it just builds and builds, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's been a bit up and down, and you can only do so much in training. It's still not going to be the same as a game. We try and stay fairly sharp, but yeah, just having these games on the run, gives you more sharpness. Something you can't get in training. So yeah, I'm just enjoying it, trying to get back to where I was, and I'm feeling it coming, and it's a nice feeling. Again, games on the run is always good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, as you know, the focus of this webinar today is about youth development and the academy. Speaking to Neil Barth, who was waxing lyrical about how well you've obviously come on since joining the club. I think at 15, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How important was the academy program for you in that development?
Not very. I think that just me now, you can see that people are coming into it, and it's almost been 10 years, and
made me feel old.
Yeah, and 25 is going quick. I think it's very important, and that's one of the reasons I came here. It was a good opportunity for me. The facilities here are amazing, and the team. My teammates back then was amazing. Some of them are still here, and some of them are I hope to see, and hopefully come back as well. Some of them on loan. But yeah, not just Neil, Jim, especially all these people that are looking after you. Just helping you every day and try and make you perform better. And I think I was lucky as well. Having Hedy and Dermot as my coaches to characters I would describe like that. But yeah, now I think they helped a lot, and helped pushing the team and the players a lot. So I think I was lucky with staff and everyone looking after me.
We could have a whole show, couldn't we, just about Dermot Drummer. He was a real character and very sadly missed, obviously. How important was the winning mentality? Because we were speaking to Neil a few moments ago about the Youth Cup wins, and to win 5 on the spin, it was almost like it seemed like a real sort of mind shift.
Yeah, I remember they won it the year I arrived. So I didn't play it when I arrived. We went to the final. I think we lost it narrowly, and then my second year, the Youth Cup, we won it, and then ever since, just been winning and winning and winning. And I think that's the mentality you have to get if you wanna be in Chelsea Academy. So I think it's massively important, and again, Neil and Jim is very good at knocking that into your head, and all the staff is on the same level. And yeah, I think just having the same goal is helping massively and helping the players perform.
Absolutely. Well, as you can imagine, Andreas, the questions have been coming in thick and fast from the fans around the country. Let's get to some of the supporter questions. The first one is from John Howard. He's from the Cork Official Supporters Club, and he asks, "Hi, Andreas. Did you always believe you would make it at the level that you have as a professional, or did you have doubts throughout your time coming through the academy?"
No, to be honest, I didn't have doubts once I arrived. Obviously it's hard to make it, but before coming here, people were like, the last one that did it was John Terry. It's been a while, and it's going to be very, very tough to break through. So to be honest, before I arrived, maybe there was doubts that I made the right choice, or I'm going to make the right choice. But once I arrived and got into the everyday work and see how dedicated everyone at the club is to bring someone through, because I think that history was there and people were talking about it and maybe heard the club a little bit. So it was very dedicated work that the academy have to be the top level, the best in the world, and I think we are at that level for a couple of years now. And so yeah, once again, when I get into that everyday work and see, you feel the opportunity is going to be there, and I was quite lucky that I trained with the first team quite early. I think me, Ruben, and Nathan was up there early. Had a few seasons just training with the team, not really in the squad to begin with, but it still helped you. So seeing everyday work, I was sure one of us was going to make it. I wasn't sure it was going to be me, but now we're a lot, so we can see the work that paid off.
Absolutely. And that takes on to another question actually from Adam Robinson, who's from the Eastern Blues Official Supporters Club. And he asks, who's the one person that's had the most influence in your career so far?
It's hard to choose one.
You can have a couple. So.
Yeah, I mean, the one that's like biggest character, probably Dermot. Had it from early, went quite early from under 18s to the 21s. And Dermot was always there, and I think probably he's the one that's pushed me the most.
Really awesome. The next question comes from Alwyn Donald from the Derry Donegal Supporters Club, and he asks, which Chelsea player, present or past, would you say you learned the most from? You mentioned John Terry already, didn't you? But I guess it doesn't have to be just in your position, but you came into a squad just full of character, didn't you?
No, yeah, I came over with JT, Piatek, Ivanovic, big character, even Matic. So Ashley Cole was here, and I wasn't here the first time Didier Drogba was around, but he came back and I was here back then. So yeah, it's hard to actually choose one, but all of them just having their own experience and one of the biggest thing you can in football. And so yeah, all of the names I just mentioned has done something, not just for me, but all the young players.
So many. Difficult to think of everybody and not leave anybody out, I can imagine. Libby Allenson from the Oxford Official Supporters Club asks, what kind of impact has Thiago Silva had on the training ground and on your game?
He's coming in with again, winning mentality. He's performed so well for so long, and I think everyone knows how difficult that is and respects the whole career. And he's still not done, and I think that's what he brings. He brings that calmness he's always had and experience. He want to win, and making the team believe. And I think that's quite important for us at the moment, just to believe in what we're doing, and I think he brings that to the table.
Absolutely. It's a very tight group at the moment, isn't it? Which brings us on to Eddie Reid's question, and Eddie's from the St Albans Official Supporters Club, who asks, who would you say is your best friend in the team?
Technically, right now, I'd say Pulisic. Got quite tight quickly, and I've always had Ruben, but I know he's on loan right now. But he's been here since I was here the day one. I arrived when I was injured. Ruben was injured. Ever since, it's just hanging out with him for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks I was here, and yeah, known him ever since. So it's been like 10 years. It's hard to compete with.
I remember those early days as well. It was yourself, Ruben, Nathan Ake. You were sort of all coming through at the same time, weren't you?
At the same time, after training, having fun. Always going to the gym or go to the pool and do recovery stuff. And we were always the same group because we, like I said, we weren't actually in the squad for the game days when we just are after the first team. So we spend a lot of time together. A lot of time.
Question. Next one comes from Neil Kelly, who actually is going to talk about a fellow Dane in the women's side. And he says, are you ever in contact with European Women's Footballer of the Year and your fellow Dane Pernilla Harder now that she's joined Chelsea Women?
I mean, at the moment, it's really hard because of COVID. We are very separate into different bubbles, and I think they are on a different schedule than we are. Anyway, in Denmark, they are. So we haven't actually seen each other over here yet. I think we've met a couple of times. But yeah, at the moment it's really hard because of the COVID bubbles and stuff. So we're not really allowed to do anything and just go to training and back home and relax, really. It's hard.
It is difficult, isn't it, for everyone at the moment? And John McCormack from the Dublin Official Supporters Club asks, how does it feel for you and the other players to be playing in empty stadiums now? So I guess on that subject you were talking about there. And just how excited are you to have fans back, hopefully, next season?
For me, it's like taking the top of the cake off. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And it just takes I don't want to say it's like we're still motivated and want to win and all that stuff, but it's just, it gives an extra kick, when the fans are there. I think that's the best thing I can say, really. It just takes like a little icing off the cake.
Absolutely. Well, we can't wait to have the fans back. I know you and everyone looking forward to a huge game this weekend against Manchester United. I know training is imminent, so we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure having you on, Andreas. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you for answering all of our questions. And thank you to all of you who have tuned in this afternoon, and especially those that took the time to submit questions. We look forward to seeing you in very soon for our next official Supporters Club live show. Bye for now.